Hello and welcome to Bricking It, Bellway's very own podcast, which gives you a unique insight into careers in the property building industry and life at Bellway. We'll be getting to know the Bellway team, debunking some stereotypes about working in the industry and giving you an insight into a career in construction and housing. I'm Laura Cooper, Head of Organisational Development at Bellway. In this episode, I'm joined by Heidi Khoshtaghaza and Simon Scougall. Heidi's varied career in HR led her to joining Bellway in 2016, and she is now the Group HR Director at Bellway. Simon joined Bellway in March 2011 and has held senior positions within the group, including that of Group Commercial Director and Group General Counsel and Company Secretary. Simon joined the board as Chief Commercial Officer on the 1st of August 2024 and is the board level sponsor for all things employee focused. We'll be chatting about what it's really like to work at Bellway and how we've positioned Bellway as an employer of choice. So, let's start bricking it. Heidi, Simon, welcome to the podcast. Thank you so much for joining me under duress.
Our pleasure, Laura. Thanks for having us. First ever podcast.
Exciting stuff. So this is really good for me because I feel like I can put my boss and my boss's boss on the spot. So this is great. So just to start off, can you please introduce yourselves and share a little bit about your background and career journey and how you got your current role at Bellway? Heidi, shall we go with ladies first?
Okay, thank you. So I've worked in HR for just over 20 years and I've held a number of roles in both the public and the private sector. I've worked in a variety of industries, including manufacturing, financial services, education, NHS and aviation before joining Bellway.
Wow, that's quite an eclectic mix, isn't it? Simon, what about you?
Well, I joined Bellway in 2011, as you mentioned, just after the house building sector was starting to recover from the global financial crisis, and Bellway was a much smaller business back then. We were steadily invested and we've grown a lot, and we're now one of the UK's leading house builders. But I'm a solicitor by background and I worked in private practice for many years, and Bellway was actually my client, or my firm's client, for quite some years. But I joined, as you say, Group Legal Advisor, progressed through the ranks as it were, and I'm now Chief Commercial Officer. But my background is in land and development, but I also cover HR, supporting Heidi in our HR efforts at Bellway, legal, compliance, insurance, as well as lots of other day-to-day operational house building responsibilities. And I just thought it'd be helpful to give you a sense of how Bellway has grown over the time that I've been here. So when I started in 2011, we had 13 divisions, and we sold in that year, I think, about 4,500 homes. We've now got 22 divisions. We had 27 people at head office. There was no formal graduate or apprenticeship scheme. There wasn't even a group HR department of any sort, really. And now we've got over 150 colleagues at our new group office, lots of fantastic recruitment development programmes, and we did peak fairly recently at 11,000 homes a year. So Bellway's come a long way in even the time I've been here.
Lots of growth, really, really interesting journey, but we'll come on to that in a second. Just drilling down a little bit more into your current roles, Heidi, what does your role as Group HR Director involve?
Okay, so just to break it down into simple terms, I've split it into three broad areas. So the first one being leadership of our centralised HR team, which consists of HR advisors, our learning and development team, recruitment and reward. There's the second aspect, which is operationally supporting our divisions and the business with any people-related matters. And I also set and shape the people strategy to support our employer of choice pillar, which forms part of our Better with Bellway strategy.
Thank you. Simon, what does it mean to be Chief Commercial Officer, and what does a typical day look like for you, if there is such a thing?
Well, there isn't such a thing, so I'll answer that separately. But I suppose, look, being Chief Commercial Officer at Bellway is a really interesting job. It covers all sorts of things. And as you mentioned, Exec Director, so I've got main board responsibilities, but I've also got lots of operational responsibilities. So I help Jason, our Chief Exec, to ensure the group and our operating divisions deliver on their priorities. And Bellway's strategy has been for a long time to deliver long-term volume and earnings growth. We're therefore busy investing in the future, and I think Heidi can speak to this one as well, how much investment the company's made over many years actually in employee recruitment and development and divisional expansion and the acquisition of new land is what we've been about at Bellway for quite some time. We've been on a path of delivering volume growth for our shareholders and wider stakeholders. So that's the Bellway bit. My role, how it fits into that, well, look, we're a PLC, so we've got lots and lots of responsibilities in the FTSE as a PLC, so you've got to be organised. That's the first thing you have to do. So there's a defined corporate calendar that Bellway needs to follow, and my diary very much is aligned to that corporate calendar with my fellow exec directors. So whilst meetings are arranged weeks in advance, I do lots of travel across the UK, covering main board, corporate advisor meetings, lawyers, city results, updates, divisional management meetings. I also find myself, the really interesting bit is when we get involved in troubleshooting or day-to-day issues that arise from absolutely nowhere. They've got to be dealt with. The unexpected will always occur in a business of our size. So that could be a site issue, could be a legal or a planning problem, could be a HR issue that I would help Heidi or you or someone in the team out with. Could be anything really. It often finds its way to my desk to decide how best to deal with that. So it's a really varied role, but one that's very rewarding, and it's certainly people focused. And as you know, I love being part of a team. So that to me is one of the real benefits of this role. It's a people role.
It sounds really interesting. It's your role now is so diverse because you've got so many different kinds of people reporting into you with different backgrounds. So that's all great, right? But we really like to get to know people on the Brick in It podcast. Can you tell me what are your go-to afternoon snacks?
Well, for me, it pretty much depends on the day of the week. From Monday to Thursday, I'm generally pretty healthy. But when it comes to Friday, it's got to be some chocolate. But, you know, as they say, it's all about balance.
That's funny. It's funny you should say that. Have you not just eaten a chocolate chip cupcake in less than 30 seconds?
Yes.
And it's Tuesday. Simon, what about you?
Well, I'm boring and I'm on a diet currently. I'm trying hard not to eat any snacks, which is why I stay well clear of the HR department of an afternoon. Because the place at Bellway to go to for a snack is Group HR. There's always cakes and biscuits there. But on a night time, my guilty pleasure really is dry roasted peanuts. But there we are.
Oh, good choice.
Eat those when I need it.
Are you more savoury than sweet?
Yeah, for certain.
See, the problem is everyone knows we've got the snacks now.
They do.
So they go very quickly. Anyway, moving on from snacks, more important things to talk about. Going back to something you said, Heidi, about our Better with Bellway employer of choice strategy. Question for you both, really. I'm interested in your perspective. What do you feel that modern employees really look for in a workplace?
Right, well, let me start by giving a quick overview of what our Better with Bellway strategy is, if I may, Laura, just
sure.
very quickly. So it's a thread which runs right throughout the business and affects everybody who works at Bellway. We've all got a part to play in helping Bellway become more sustainable. And in short, it's about Bellway putting people on the planet first. What that means in reality is we cover 8 key business pillars that we've got everybody in Bellway bought into operationally to help us deliver the targets. But the key pillars are quality and safety, sustainable supply chain, biodiversity, resource efficiency, charitable engagement, and then our key priorities, our flagship priorities, if you like, of carbon reduction, customers and communities, and being an employer of choice. So that's Better with Bellway at a headline view. I think, in my view, modern employees want to feel like they're part of a team, that they've got a sense of belonging. And I mentioned before, Bellway is a people business, and I've got many amazing friends and colleagues that we've worked with for years at Bellway, and we specialise in teamwork at Bellway. So I think that's one of the key drivers. Certainly, I've found my career develop and progress for the better through a teamwork approach, to be a part of a team or leading a team. And I think flexibility, work-life balance is really important now, more than ever, actually. Certainly from when I was a younger lawyer, you wouldn't talk about work-life balance back in the 90s and noughties, really. But now it's very important, and rightly so, to younger people looking to join the workplace for the first time or progress their careers early on in their working lives. And we've got a formal, flexible and agile working policy in place all employees can benefit from. So we do certainly deliver that at Bellway. But culture, another one I think. They're really important to have a supportive culture, but a culture in which you can thrive. And I recently spoke to our board about this. The employee engagement survey we've just done with all colleagues, we had really good response rates. The majority of colleagues filled this in. And the 3 most used words to describe Bellway's culture were friendly, supportive and inclusive. And I sit here and I feel proud about that. And I think that's fantastic to be part of a business where most of our colleagues have said those are the words that they associate Bellway with. Wellbeing, perhaps Heidi can mention that as well, but we've got lots of really good wellbeing initiatives on it at Bellway. We encourage a healthy lifestyle. doing that work-life balance I mentioned before. But well-being is crucial, and then ultimately, I suppose it all comes down to career and personal development. There's no point joining a business unless you're going to have a career there, and you're going to develop as an individual as you get older and progress your career. And I look back to our stats again. But again, I won't use many stats today, but this is one jumps out to me, and I've been there a long while. Heidi's been at Bellway a long while. 20% of Bellway employees have enjoyed over 10 years service. And that's part of our culture there. People join and progress, and they tend not to leave. I mean, that's a real strength. Turnover's low, so therefore people are happy with their careers at Bellway. And over 90% of our colleagues would recommend Bellway as a great place to work. Again, that's testament to what we're about. So we're very proud of all that, but we're proud of our young persons recruitment initiatives, and be it through our graduate or apprenticeship schemes or other young person schemes that we've got across the business. Young people are really important to us. We want young talent joining our business because ultimately, if they devote their careers to us and we work hard with them, they will be the future leaders of Bellway.
Absolutely. I agree with all of those points, and I have nothing else to add.
Thank you very much.
Excellent. Moving swiftly on. Heidi, question for you then. How is Bellway going above and beyond to meet the expectations that Simon just mentioned?
So Bellway has gone above and beyond in a number of different areas. Firstly, as Simon's talked about, we've invested significantly in personal and professional development. Programmes like Elevate for people managers and Architecture for senior leaders ensure employees have a clear pathway for growth. We've also embedded mental health and wellbeing into our culture to ensure that people have support and networks when they really need them. And then also on the diversity front, we're driving representation at all levels by tracking diversity data with ambitious targets and introducing inclusive policies and practices such as improving facilities for females on sites. Additionally, we've made employee voice a cornerstone of our culture. Employee listening groups and networks give employees the opportunity to share feedback and shape decisions. So ultimately, our focus on development, wellbeing, inclusion and employee voice really kind of sets us apart, I think.
Thank you. I guess some of the more traditional benefits, I just want to touch on those as well. So why do you feel that benefits like financial security and, we've talked about well-being, and then also sustainability is a big one at the moment. Why do you feel that they are so important in today's job market?
I think in particularly with financial security, the cost of living has increased for everybody. So people really do have concerns about financial stability. And therefore, some of the benefits that we offer, such as pensions, share save scheme, salary sacrifice options, can provide employees with reassurance, not just about the now, but also about the future as well. With regards to well-being, people value employers that take a holistic approach towards well-being, so not just supporting their everyday, but also supporting their physical, mental and emotional health. And then with regards to sustainability, the workforce today, and particularly the younger generation, really want to work with companies that are committed to sustainability moving forwards. And we've seen that a lot, in particularly with apprentices and graduates as part of the selection process, that's something that they're really passionate about.
Simon, could you explain a bit about what the Share Save programme is and how it enables employees to invest in Bellway's success?
It's quite an important thing, but it's good because a PLC has got the unique opportunity to offer employees the ability to join a Share Save to acquire shares in Bellway for a discount. And it's a really good way of saving money each month in a tax efficient scheme. You can buy shares at a discount, typically 20% from the offer price, and save over a 3 to 5 year period, saving anything from £10 to up to £500 a month before being taxed on those earnings. So it's in effect a salary sacrifice type scheme. It's a really, really good scheme. We encourage all of our employees to join, and Heidi and the HR team and the company secretarial team do roadshows and lunch and learn sessions to really explain the benefits of the scheme. It's obviously HMRC approved, so there's quite a bit of detail that people need to go through, but in essence you are offered an option to buy Bellway shares at a 20% discount from the time the scheme is launched, normally in the autumn of each year. You'll save for 3 or 5 years, and at the end of that period you'll buy the shares on that discount price, but hopefully Bellway has performed very well in that period. Our employees have helped Bellway perform well. The share price growth has come along, and you get the benefit of all that uplift as well as the original discount. So it's a bit of a no-brainer, really. We really encourage people to save. And ultimately, hopefully not the case, but with Bellway shares not to perform, you've saved money anyway with a little bit of interest on. So if people can afford to save, that's the best way of saving. And it's a tax-efficient vehicle.
Yeah, it is an excellent scheme. I think not that we're financial advisors, but you can't really lose. It's a win-win.
You're quite right to flag that point, yes.
Heidi, just coming back to you, touching again on the point of being an employer of choice. We know this goes beyond the financial benefits that we've just mentioned. And I think Simon mentioned about, family being central to our values and we've got lots of family-friendly, flexible working policies. How does Bellway's parental leave policy reflect its commitment to supporting family life?
Okay, so, as a business, we absolutely understand that balancing work and family responsibilities is crucial. And our policies give employees the flexibility and financial security they need during these important life moments. So, for example, with our maternity and our shared parental leave schemes, we offer enhanced maternity and paternity leave, both with 6 months full pay. And we also offer enhanced paternity leave, offering 4 weeks full pay. So these policies reflect our broader commitment to being an employer of choice, one that values and supports the diverse needs of our workforce.
You've kind of led into another question I had, which is around how does a company like Bellway go about fostering diversity and inclusion, particularly when they're in a traditional male-dominated industry like construction?
So this is an area that we've done a lot of work in. So Bellway recognises the benefits of increased diversity, and we've made a strong commitment towards achieving a greater balance across the business. So as a business, we've supported some targeted initiatives like the Women into Home Building project. And I know that on a previous podcast, you've talked to the team about that. But this programme is designed to encourage more women into site management roles. But we've also worked with the Leonard Cheshire Change 100 programme to support summer placements for young people with disabilities. In addition to that, our apprentice and graduate programmes have been key in working towards greater diversity. So in 2024, 62% of our graduate programme and 18% of our apprenticeship programme came from a minority ethnic background. And additionally, we have a number of systems and processes internally which keeps inclusion really high on the agenda, such as our balance network and employee listening groups, which we'll talk about hopefully later on. We also have our inclusion steering committee, which Simon sponsors and I chair, as well as awareness campaigns across the business. So diversity is really important to us.
I'll just jump in there, Laura, because we've come a long way actually as a sector. Going back to when I joined, it was extremely male-dominated, and females were, generally speaking, sales advisors out on site, and the rest of it was a man's world, as it were. And we've come a huge way in that short space of time. We've got a long way to go, don't get me wrong, but we've got very diverse head office, very diverse divisions. Senior management team is diverse and improving, and there's a lot of women and people from ethnic minority backgrounds in the business now, and in the wider sector actually, which you wouldn't recognise back when I joined in 2011. It wasn't like that. So yes, a long way to go, but we're definitely on the right journey, and I think our young persons programmes is a great way to help build the Bellway of the future where we're even more diverse.
And we made a very bold commitment with the Women into Home Building programme that we said that all of our divisions would recruit at least one person through Women into Home Building, which is a bigger commitment than any of the other house builders made across the sector as well, because we are really committed to trying to get more women into the sector.
It's amazing stuff, really. And we've got a really diverse board as well, actually, haven't we? We've got more females than males on our exec board. Heidi, just going back to you again, but Simon, feel free, because you might have something to add to this. Our employees are very much the heart of our organisation, and we're really committed to supporting wellbeing and mental health. Can you provide a bit more detail around how we've actually gone about that and the support we provide our colleagues?
Well, I think ultimately people perform best when they feel valued and supported in the workplace. So, when it comes to mental health, we've taken a really proactive approach. It's mandatory for all of our people managers across the business to undertake mental health awareness training, and that allows them to help them spot the signs early on if somebody is suffering with stress or any kind of mental health challenges. In addition, 1 in 10 of our employees are mental health advocates across the group, which provides an additional layer of support for staff But also we do make sure that we also support those advocates as well. So Lynn in the HR team takes the lead in supporting those individuals and tracks the type of issues that they're encountering to make sure that they are really, really supportive. We also make sure from a mental health perspective that is embedded into the wellbeing calendar, and we have a number of awareness campaigns that we run throughout the year. But we also want to ensure that we proactively try and get our site-based teams involved in that. Due to a higher risk of suicide rates of men who work in construction, that's particularly important for us.
And I've seen this embraced out on site and in offices and at head office, actually. Not wishing to sound stereotypical, Laura, but some of the older people that I've spoken to who might be a little more reluctant or perhaps not see it as a priority, absolutely not. It's the opposite. I've got people in my team saying, well, we did the half-day mental health training course and it was a complete eye-opener, and the different people for it, better people for it, and came to see me actually to tell me how much they'd enjoyed the course. So it's a bit of a success story in my view at Bellway, the effort we're making and the response we're getting from colleagues in this important area.
I think it all speaks to the culture at Bellway, because I think colleagues genuinely care about each other, and I think that has probably been the sell, in that it's not just what can this do for me. Actually, there are benefits to them learning about these things to support their colleagues. A question for both of you, actually. We've talked about this a little bit, just want to drill into a bit more detail. Can you share how Bellway nurtures employee voice? So we've talked about balanced listening groups, that kind of thing, and what impact these initiatives have had on our culture and decision making.
Well, we do welcome and value what all employees have to say at Bellway. We want to hear their views, and they're taken into account seriously. We talk about employee views in divisions on site up to boardroom level. So conversations are taking place every day of the week in relation to what employees feel and what their needs are and what their suggestions or issues may be. And we have our employee listening groups, which Heidi chairs or other senior colleagues chair. We have 4 regions that meet 4 times a year. So there's a lot of discussion there. Over 80 people, I think, attend those listening groups. So get a wide variety of views from across the whole of the group, across the whole of the UK. We've got our engagement surveys each year. We have lots and lots of team events, which people are encouraged to just talk about whatever they feel is appropriate. Conferences and awards ceremonies. And we've got regular engagement between our business leaders and our employees. We're a people business, as I mentioned before. We really do listen, and we're out and about seeing colleagues all the time and wanting to hear what their views are. So there's an open dialogue. It's encouraged at Bellway, and I think that's really positive. So that culture of collaboration that I mentioned and that hard work means Bellway's a successful business. And my last stat of the day, I think, because I want to get this one, and I'm really pleased with this one, is 96% of colleagues in our last engagement survey said they see that their work at Bellway's got a positive impact on Bellway's business. That's fantastic that nearly everybody sees the delivering to Bellway's success.
That's a brilliant stat to have.
Just to kind of add to that, for example, the employee listening groups are actually chaired by employees from across the group. And more recently, there's been some really positive outcomes from the employee listening groups based on their feedback. And some of these things include, the introduction of paying for professional fees. That came across very loud and clear from our employees, and we've taken that seriously. New benefits such as buying holidays. And also feedback from the group also helped us shape the introduction of our new performance management system, My Experience. It was really important that we took that feedback and incorporated that. And also just to mention that our Balance Network as well. So our Balance Network initially started as a network to focus on gender diversity across the business, but more recently it's expanded to address broader diversity issues. And the network has been instrumental in driving practical changes like improving facilities for females on sites, organising awareness events such as International Men's Day and International Women's Day, and also introducing menopause guidance into the workplace as well.
Another question for both of you. I'm interested in, you might have slightly different takes on this, I don't know. Simon, I'll go to you first. What role do you feel leadership plays in fostering a positive workplace culture?
Simple answer, it's absolutely vital. Absolutely vital. Most of our senior leaders, I mentioned before, have been at Bellway a long time, and they've developed their careers with the company, and made good friends along the way. And that's really important, that we're available to our colleagues, that we lead by example, and that our doors are always open. I believe one of Bellway's greatest strengths is its people. As a business, we're only as good as the culture fostered by a leadership team. So I spend most of my day talking to colleagues, helping them to make decisions that will drive the business forward. And it's great that most of our leaders stay within the business. We've been around as a company for over 75 years, and Bellway started out life, for those that don't know, just after the Second World War with a father and his two sons, John T. Bell, setting up a very small building firm. And Bellway's grown entirely organically in that period of time. So the company we are now, we've done it ourselves, obviously over generations. We never acquired another company to add to our scale. So I think that is very powerful because it means we've got one very positive but long-standing culture that everyone buys into, that our leaders have bought into as they progress their careers through Bellway in the main. And it means we're a successful company. So back to where we started, it's absolutely vital, Laura, in my view. And we deliver that at Bellway.
Heidi, what's your view?
I agree with everything Simon says, and I think that where we are now, leadership is really, really difficult for, leaders in the business. We've got 4 generations in the workplace who've all got different needs and wants, so that can be a real challenge or a potential opportunity, whichever way you kind of look at it. But as I've talked about, we've focused heavily on incorporating leadership programs, Elevate and architecture across the business, and both of those programmes emphasise self-awareness, empathy and adaptability, qualities that are essential for a positive culture. We also encourage leaders to engage in meaningful and regular conversations through My Experience, which is our continuous performance management model. So, yes, it's really, really important.
And just for the purposes of listeners who aren't Bellway colleagues, Elevate and architecture, what are they?
So Elevate is our people managers programme, and architecture is more focused on strategic leadership, so that is more focused on our senior leaders across the business.
Both of which are oversubscribed, and that's lovely to hear. That people want to be on those courses, and we haven't run extra cohorts or think about running extra cohorts because the demand's so great.
And we have won awards for these programmes as well.
Very true. Simon, going back to you, I just want to talk a little bit about, linked to your point about the impact people feel that they have on Bellway, but also their communities. So charity's always been really important to Bellway and our people, and we've raised significant funds over the years for various causes. How is Bellway supporting employees to contribute to charities that are meaningful to them?
Oh, well, that's a nice question to ask me, because this is a really good news story at Bellway to talk about. And we've had massive employee engagement on our national charity partnership with Cancer Research UK, who we've been with for over 4 years now. It's been a resounding success, and to sit here and say that as a company we've raised over £4 million to date and pushing to increase that to £5 million by the end of this year is a great thing to be involved in. And employee engagement's been nothing short of tremendous. We've had everybody I speak to is involved in fundraising, if I start talking about it, to some degree. And it's really, really encouraged. There's loads of initiatives underway for this important cause. everybody's touched by cancer at some stage in their lives, either directly or through friends or family, and that encourages people to get involved because of the importance of Cancer Research UK. We've actually won their National Charity Partner Award last year, I think it was, for the support we've given them, and that encourages people all the more because they can see the benefits that the Cancer Research are getting from us. So we do lots of things. We do charity walks, fundraising balls, golf days, office cake sales, back to group HR again, go to HR for a cake, you name it. There's all sorts of things that go on across the group, and we're proud of that. And to help with the fundraising and where Bellway comes along to really spur people on is, for every £1 an employee raises, Bellway will add £2 to that. So I always just give the example to colleagues that, you raise 50 quid and it's worth £150 for Cancer Research. Get out there and fundraise all you can, because that's how much more Bellway's going to add to the pot. And we've even got I help organise a charity walk each year. We've got a charity walk this summer. It's oversubscribed. There's 65 people go on it. It's a 2-night trip. This year we're doing the Cheviot. Lots and lots of external support, suppliers, consultants, lawyers come along to that. And it could be 200 people if I want to make it. That's too big a group. But it's just great that people want to get involved. This year. This year's your year. And it's a Cheviot. You can come and climb that Cheviot with us. What a time to join.
You heard it first here.
But there's other stuff, I suppose, Heidi, opening up to you, that there are other things that we do to support colleagues to, support charities that they're personally passionate about, aren't there?
Yes, we have our volunteering policy where we encourage employees across the business to get involved with charities or organisations that are close to them or they're passionate about supporting. And each employee is encouraged to do 1 day's volunteering per year.
Brilliant. And we've had quite a lot of uptake on that, haven't we? Especially from, the early careers colleagues. I think they find it really exciting to go and give something back in work time.
And also, I think some of the teams across the group like to get involved. So it's an opportunity for, yes, you're going to volunteer, but it's also a little bit of a team building exercise for teams across the business as well.
Absolutely. Simon, looking at you again on this question, our Better with Bellway strategy also focuses on our sustainable approach to business. What green benefits does Bellway offer employees that are committed to reducing their carbon footprint?
Looking at how individuals in Bellway can get involved in helping us deliver that sustainability agenda, we've got our green car scheme. So through salary sacrifice, it means you can get access to some really quite nice cars at much lower cost than you'd be able to procure yourself on the open market, but also they're environmentally friendly, so they're either electric or the low carbon hybrid vehicles. And the uptake on that, Heidi, I think has been excellent, hasn't it?
Been positive,
so,
yes.
If you're an employee coming in for a monthly sum, which is salary sacrifice, you've got a nice car which is insured, taxed, tested, maintained, the whole lot. It's one payment off your wage slip, as it were, and that car's yours for 3 years to drive. So that's been really well received. We do lots and lots of training, so our colleagues are educated on how they can play their part, whether in the office or on site, and how we can get Bellway's carbon footprint down, reduce waste, reduce water consumption, improve biodiversity. So there's an awful lot of training going on there, alongside lots of initiatives that we're doing to get our carbon footprint down. We've just touched on the balanced network before, but encouraging employees to drive diversity and inclusion across the workforce is part of our employer of choice pillar, and lots of engagement through balance. We've got lots of partnerships as well, which we use to improve our sustainable approach with some companies such as, say, Plant Life, who we work with now to deliver our biodiversity targets on newer developments, particularly in show homes and customer gardens, and that's got quite a momentum behind it.
Absolutely, thank you. So, after talking about all of these brilliant benefits, what would you say to people who are interested in coming to work for Bellway?
So if you are interested in coming to work for Bellway, my advice is to simply go for it. While we are passionate about building houses, we're also passionate about building careers for employees. So today you would have heard some of the great initiatives that we support and the benefits that they offer, but we could not fit everything in. So just in summary, over the last 3 years, we've achieved engagement scores of between 90 and 95%. For the second year in a row, we've been awarded Best Staff Development Award at the House Builder Awards. And we have recently achieved silver as part of a nationally recognised diversity and inclusion standard with the Clear Assured. All of this reinforces why Bellway is such a great place to work.
And it is. So my answer to that, Laura, is apply. Apply to join the Bellway team because you won't regret it. We've got a great career programme for people. We offer excellent prospects. We're a supportive, friendly environment in which to develop your career. We focus on people. We're a people business. And we do want to develop careers because, as I said earlier, people are Bellway's future. And it's ever so important that we keep investing in younger talent for the long-term success of Bellway. So apply to join the team.
Absolutely. And I'm pleased you mentioned early careers because we're about to go live with all of our early careers recruitment for September start. So, Heidi, where can listeners go to find out more about Careers with Bellway, our benefits, and apply?
If you're interested in an apprenticeship, graduate opportunity or career opportunity, please go to bellwaycareers.co.uk. You can also find out more about our benefits and Better with Bellway on our website too.
Thank you very much. That wraps up our session on Breaking It with Bellway. Huge thank you to Simon and Heidi for joining me on this episode. Hopefully I haven't been too mean.
You've been very kind and lovely. Thanks, it's our first podcast, isn't it, Heidi? So
first and last.
Yes, at last. Thanks very much. Won't be caught.
We'll see. So if you've been tuning in and are thinking about a career with Bellway, please head to our show notes for all of the information on roles at Bellway and how to apply. We'd love to have you on the team.